If you run training at an electric utility, you already know the nightmare. An RC seat goes empty. The sitting is on the calendar. And what's on the shelf is 6 PDFs, a recorded boot camp, and a hope. This is not size dependent. IOU, Muni, Co-op, Public Power. If your name is on coverage, this is for you. Most candidates don't fail because they can't do the job. They fail because prep is scattered. Standards in one tab, formulas in another. A practice test that doesn't look like the sitting. Nobody can tell you what to study tomorrow. So you buy more material. That is not a path. That is a pile. GridCert RC is one path through all 6 domains. You learn, you get checked. You see the weak area, you fix it. You sit a timed mock that behaves like the exam. An AI instructor is there when you get stuck. You get 12 months, not a weekend cram and a prayer. Days 1 to 3, baseline. Days 4 to 10, the operating foundation. Then the 6 domains. Then you attack what the data says you're missing. Then you practice under the clock. Then you review. 30 days if they can study, longer if they can't. The sitting does not wait for a perfect calendar. What you actually get, the full course, the AI instructor, timed simulation and tracking, the recorded boot camp, the study guide, the practice questions, the supplement. We sell that as one system for $899. 5 seats about $29.99, 10 about $49.99. Departments by seats. 1 hero candidate is still a start. That is less than 1 overtime week of covering an empty desk. We do not bet the sitting. We bet that what they open is the path we just described. If it isn't, sales at epgsolutions.services. Within 7 days and we make it right. If you have someone sitting this cycle, start them this week. Sales at epgsolutions.services or buy GridCert RC on the site. 1 candidate or a department. Then stop shopping. Let me walk you through what they actually get, one piece at a time. Because the course is not the story is they know what to open tomorrow. First, they get a baseline in days 1 through 3. Not a vibe, a picture of what they do not know. So you stop guessing. If that was all this was, you would already be ahead of a binder. But that is not all. Next, days 4 through 10. The operating foundation. Limits, ACE. The stuff that shows up even when they know the job. So the first week is not wasted rereading standards they already live in. Then the 6 domains, in order. Not whichever PDF is on top of the pile. Each domain gets learned, then checked, then patched. So a weak area cannot hide until exam week. Then they practice under the clock. Timed mocks that behave like the sitting. Exam day is not the first time the timer is running. That is the piece most piles never give you. Then a final mock and a short review. 30 days if they can study, longer if they cannot. The sitting still does not move. The path does, and they are not alone in the login. An AI instructor sits on the path when they get stuck at 10 p.m., which is when operators actually study. You do not have to be the 10 p.m. tutor. 12 months. Because one sitting is not always the first sitting, and you should not buy this again in March. Now the rest of the stack, because it is already in the login. You are not shopping for extras. You get the recorded boot camp, so the live week they missed is not a hole. You get the study guide and the practice questions, so the path has the paper, not a second Amazon order. You get the supplement, so the odd topic that always shows up has a home. That is one system. That is GridCert RC. Here's what it costs. $899 for 1 seat. About $2,999 for 5. About $4,999 for 10. Departments by seats. 1 candidate is still a start. Most people hear $899 and think training budget. That is the wrong comparison. Compare it to covering an empty RC desk. Overtime. Borrowed operators, a sitting you cannot push. 1 week of that costs more than this path. If the path is real, $899 is cheap. If the path is a pile with a new logo, $899 is expensive. That is why we walk the stack before we say the number. $899 is not the expensive option. The empty chair is, We do not bet the sitting. We cannot. Nobody honest can. We bet that what they open is this path: 6 domains, timed mocks, 12 months, a plan for tomorrow. If they get in this week and it is not that, email sales at epgsolutions.services within 7 days, and we make it right. If you have someone sitting this cycle, start them this week, not after the next binder. This week, sales at epgsolutions.services, or buy GridCert RC on the site, one seat or department. Then stop shopping.